Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh. I've got my co-host, Lore Master Jenham.
Howdy, howdy.
And Star Captain Falcon Steve with me today.
Gentlemen.
And we are the Mechbay Podcast, your number one source for all things casual to competitive tabletop Battletech. And today, we're doing the long-awaited What the Faction 3152. Because it's been a while. And, you know, with the Kickstarter coming, we might as well know, what are we getting ourselves into? In universe, I should say. Now, we aren't a lore podcast. So,
thank goodness.
Yeah. So this is going to be fast, easy, and save all your hate mail, essentially.
Promises.
We hate all of your factions. There are no favorites. As the Jade Falcon player looks over at me with mongrelly eyes.
We gave that up. We're reformed.
So let's roll out first with some hobby news, hobby progress, games played, upcoming events, and fan mail. I think the only hobby news that we could even possibly care about is where's our damn Kickstarters?
Hey,
Soon.
They gave us a third coloring book to, give us something to do while we wait. Activity Book 3 is out now for free.
It's true.
It has crabs in it.
Oh, well, okay. Let's stop everything. I'll be right back.
Now, if I remember correctly, everything is in the backer kit, like digital downloads. So all of our digital rewards are out already.
Yes. The cookbook is there. Is the Art of War there? I didn't.
Yeah,
the Art of War is
there. I know some of the fiction's there. I know Skulk of Foxes by Jason Hance has been in that, included in that bundle as well. So people can start reading that if they'd like.
Yeah. So all of our digital stuff's out. Now we're just waiting on models. The question is, how long are the majority of us going to have to wait for models? It could be any time. Like, they haven't really rolled out a schedule or anything. It's, I don't want to say first come, first serve, because I know, Steve, you're pretty much the first person out of the main thing.
I was backer like 54, I think, because we were at Adepticon and they said, oh, it's open. I just pushed a button and went, I'm done.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, it's not first come, first serve, and it's not lowest price to highest price, because then we would all see the cons and everything, or we would see the single boxes. So I think they mentioned in their email or the Tuesday Newsday that they're working through the company, battalion, that kind of thing. So it's like that level. So
those levels are getting a lot of the same stuff. So when they're packing it up, they can just lay out a whole bunch of those in, like, that makes sense to me.
Yeah. Now, there was a hiccup, and this is why you do the test shipments first, which I think everyone was like, why are some people getting it first? And I'm like, obviously, they're doing a quality control check first on, did these pack right? Let's get feedback. And the major issue I saw was in the salvage packs.
Oh,
The Mercenaries Kickstarter salvage packs. The ones that are supposed to be mechs were just coming with one vehicle. And, well, one vehicle is not worth one mech.
Correct.
So,
right. But they know exactly how many of those. It was like 6,378 or something like that.
Yep.
Out of all the ones that they did. So they do already have a system in place. If you got one of those, then they'll contact you about getting replacement salvage boxes and stuff. So,
and I think the resolution for that going forward is we're just going to add in a free mech salvage box to all shipments going forward.
I mean, I'll tell you what, if you want to smooth things over with me, just send me more plastic. It's fine.
The blind boxes, I need more blind boxes. I just need them. So
yeah. No one's complaining about that part.
No.
So yeah, does anyone else have anything about Kickstarter?
No, I mean, nothing I can substantiate. I'd heard rumors that they were trying to do larger orders first, but that was debunked because people were getting smaller orders.
Yeah, I was saying mine's pretty large and I haven't heard anything yet. So
yeah. And one of the concerns I've heard is that if they go and they continue to fill these smaller orders first, those of us that ordered large orders, there may not be enough of specific items if those all get if there was a pallet that got missing or something like that, then are the rest of us with larger orders going to have to wait to have those orders fulfilled because we need supplemental shipments to come in? Who knows? But that's all just,
hearsay and rumors.
Yeah, that's it. So nothing like
Hearsay,
putting it out there
rumors,
for
and a
the
little bit of
masses.
complaining. Have either of you guys gotten your email?
But
You know the
I'm
answer to that
patient.
question,
I don't care.
Josh, and you're saying it to make me upset.
And Denim, you said no.
Yeah.
I have gotten my email. I guess I was in the second wave, and they do send out this is your last chance to get your address corrected. So
Good, because I have moved since then.
yeah. So I appreciate that they are doing that, because one big worry was, when was the last time? It was like March,
Yeah.
April, that it was like, okay, a lot of things can happen. So it's just always nice to see, like, hey, that like 1 to 2% of all the people in this wave, if you moved, you do have a chance. You'll be at the end of the wave. You might be the next one, but we'll correct your address.
Yeah. And that's, good, just because there's such a lead time on when they initially asked for, addresses, and to where we are now. We've just seen a lot of delays. So,
Well, I won't dwell.
Yeah, I haven't finished painting the mechs that I got in the last Kickstarter, so I still have time.
I think I joked to someone when they were like, I haven't gotten my Mercenaries Kickstarter yet. And I was sent I'm going to be real with you, Chief. You haven't painted your Clan Invasion Kickstarter yet. It's true. So I don't want to hear no complaining from folks. But let's move on for some hobby news, because let's get real. Until we get Kickstarter, that's the only thing we're going to be hearing about. Hobby progress.
talking about painting gray stuff, right?
Right. I have not. Technically, I primed my Capellans, and I finally figured out what I'm going to do with them. So if we remember, like a year ago, my friend got out of Battletech and was like, hey, do you want all of my Big Mac force? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take that. And I was like, but I'm not really into Compellants. And I was like, what do I do? And I realized after some games played, St. Ives Compact. Because no one hates Capellans more than also semi-Compellants. Because they are Capellan, then they're a breakaway faction for like...
Well, here's the secret. It doesn't matter what faction you're in. Battletech wants you to always be fighting. So in your faction, you can find a faction that hates your faction that you can play against. Civil War is a standard.
And that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. I wanted Capellans that didn't just stereotypically only fight one faction. I was like, okay, St. Ives Compact was Capellan, so you can take all the stuff from it. Then fought the clans, like Operation Bulldog. Then they go back. Then they fight Capellans. Then they fight the Federated Sons. Then they just fight everyone because it's Capellans. And I was like, I can dig that. I can dig fighting everyone more than I can fight, this faction, like this sub-faction was only fighting one unit, and that's what they're known for. I was like, that's kind of boring. So I'm excited. St. Ives Compact. I mean, it's just a kind of a neutral bluish green, but I'll make it work.
Yeah, you like painting blues and greens as it is, but no, it's always fun to have a new project, a new faction that you're kind of getting into. I've also started the process of assigning some of my Inner Sphere mechs that I have a billion of, because I don't normally play Inner Sphere. I'm starting to come up with a couple of groups that I can start clumping mechs into and start doing that as well. So,
yeah. So for you, Steve, that's all I have for my hobby progress. What have you gotten done lately?
Actually got a ton of stuff done. For the first time in like 7 months, I picked up a paintbrush and I painted a Black Marauder from the Marauder books.
Wait, that's kind of cheating. You spray painted flat black. Done.
No, actually, I didn't.
I
tried. It was done in a gray, and then I washed it down a couple shades, and then I dry brushed it, and then so it's actually a dark gray that's been washed and then dry brushed. It's not actually black.
I want to get some of that Vantum black, that blacker than black, and then use highlights with the like glow in the dark paint. That's what I want to do.
That'd be cool. So there are like two things with Vanta Black. One, I'm 99% sure it causes all sorts of horrible cancers.
Nothing should
be that black. Every single one.
It will go in the container with my lead mix.
You can lick those too. No, I'm pretty sure that you're going to lose all definition, so it's just going to look like a blob.
Yeah, I know. I know the problems with it. It's just that for reading the books, it should look at something that you stare at and you're just like, that just doesn't look like you think it should.
Something is wrong.
So, in some ways, I think it would be perfect, but in other ways, it's like painting a mech with accurate camo. You don't want to do that because it breaks up the definition and then you can't tell what you're looking at, which is how camo should work, but it doesn't make for a cool looking mech.
The trick is to do really good job painting really bad camo. So It looks like camo, but you can still see what you're looking at.
Exactly. So that is correct.
Paint bad camo, folks. What else did I do?
Well.
I assembled a bunch of Ironman metal models from hell, which reminded me why I hate pewter models. I did a Timberwolf in about 5 minutes. My super glue cooperated. Everything went where it was supposed to go. It was great. Then this adder fell apart on me like 10 times. The Firemoth went together okay. But no, it just reiterated why working with metal is so difficult to me. And I'm like, man, I can't wait for it just made me yearn for that, the new plastic mercenary stuff. I'm like, I just want more plastics. I don't have to fuss with it.
Do you not use the accelerator spray?
I do, but I have since moved my hobby desk. I have relinquished the dining room table back to my wife. So I am now operating on my computer desk. So I have a limited space and I'm worried about overspray because I don't know what that chemical is going to do to my computer monitors and stuff if it gets on
or your lungs or anything. Like nothing good.
Yeah. So no, I do have the stuff and I do like it. I just try to use it sparingly when I'm in my basement. In other news, Ironwind Metals did actually get around to sending me the upper arm actuator for my Loki 2 that I mentioned like 2 episodes ago that I put together. So that's very exciting. And then when I was trying to put the upper arm actuator on, I broke off the legs. So we're back to square 2, but we're working on it. So that'll get finished.
At least you got all the parts.
I now have all the parts. That's true. I've started a new terrain project, actually. There's a guy in my local gaming group, Weston, who works on repairing school buses. And when the kids break the cameras, because kids are rambunctious, he has to replace the entire housing unit for the camera. And he has a bunch of old lenses from those cameras that he's not using anymore, like those domes. So I've taken them and I'm going to paint them. And I'm going to turn them into like little aggro domes for like a moon base.
Yeah, the moon base maps need stuff like that.
Yeah, so I'm working on those. That's my next terrain project I'm working on.
That'd be cool.
So other than that, I did buy a couple of the neoprene battle mats. Those came, and my kids' birthdays are coming up in August, so I bought them both a new plushie for their birthdays. Those arrived as well. So that's all my buying and building progress. Denim, how about you?
I went to IKEA and I got a new hobby desk. So
that's exciting. It's covered in stuff.
Yeah, it is because I tested it. I put all my paints up there. I painted a few more smoke jags. Put some mottled gray with some yellow highlights on them, and I painted 2 more Grey Death Legion.
Very exciting.
Yep.
Both of those are gray, though.
No, well, there is a lot of white to begin with the Grey Death Legion. The dark gray doesn't come until the very, very end. There's a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've also got the more Draconis combat I need to paint up as well. But I don't want to mix my reds in with the grays right now.
There's a joke there. I'll find it one day.
Yep. But yeah, so bought a new hobby desk, painted some mechs. Good times.
Sounds good. All right, we'll move on from hobby progress and we'll go to games played. I've gotten 2 days, but 4 games. So, yeah. So, first off, I got to fight the Honorable Jade Falcons, played by host Dustin, and I took my light Lyrans, which are, oh man. So 7,500, and I'm like, okay, I'll take my Lyrans that are painted. The problem is I've only painted the same 4 or 5 units. I was like, ugh. I'll take my Hollander, my Wolfhound, my Uziel 8S, and my Blackjack, and I'll just make sure that their skills add up to 7,500. So I have a 2-3 Hollander.
Oh my.
And like a 2-3 Uziel 8S, and then like 3 4s for everything else. I was like, okay, we've got the best Lyran scout lance that you've ever seen versus a 4/5 Jade Phoenix, a Flameberg is how you pronounce it.
No,
He's
not.
doing this on purpose, mispronouncing Uziel, Flameberg. God.
No, it's Flamberge is how it's Flamberge in French. All right.
There's no more French in 3152. That's
There are Davians.
You don't pilot a guillotine?
No, it's a guillotine.
I know.
Look, all Battletech pronunciation is wrong.
No, just you, Josh. Just you.
Just you? Okay. Then what is that, a Hyro Falcon? Oh, he's like bleeding at the ears right now. But yeah.
I'll tender my resignation promptly, Josh.
Yeah, so he had a Jade Phoenix, a Flamberge, and a Hero Falcon, all at 4/5. And man, that game was wild. We played, was it Hot Dog, essentially, on one of the big desert maps. So we were playing short ways across the entire long map. I'd always struggle with how to describe those. Like, do you play short? Do you play long? And my brain is like, both ways are short. One is the short size, the other one is the short distance to the enemy.
You just say, do you play the short edge or the long edge?
Oh, yeah, that could work. So we played long edge to long edge. Thanks.
Short ways.
And, oh, man, like, turn 2, I put heavy Gauss round at the Flamberge's leg. Turn 3, I put another heavy Gauss round at the Flamberge's leg.
Oh.
And it's just like, all right, leg's gone.
Bye-bye.
It's like, oh, like you feel bad, but then you're like, oh, taking a leg off a mech doesn't actually like kill it. It just like makes it really annoying.
Yep.
And I'm like, I hate legging mechs so much. It was funny because the Uziel is the improved jump jet one, so that was chasing around the Hero Falcon. Like, it might as well have been another partial wing mech for all I cared. The Blackjack and the Wolfhound tried to fight the Jade Phoenix. The problem is, like, even with better skills, they just don't take the hits.
No.
No. So by the end of it, my Hollander goes down after like 6-7 turns. It loses the heavy Gauss rifle. It doesn't explode, thankfully. It just like loses that side. And I was like, I'm still a 2-3 Hollander. I still got legs and punches. It tries to go after the J Phoenix, gets murdered. The Wolfhound tries to put the Flamberge out of its misery. The Hero Falcon and the Jade Phoenix pick on that, kill that. And I was like, man, what really ended this game was the Uziel 8S jumped point blank into the Jade Phoenix's front. It was had the level 1 difference, so it's up higher against the Jade Phoenix. And I'm like, me jumping and you jumping puts us roughly the same skill. And I was like, it all comes down to this. I roll, I get the kick, and I get the head, and I do a 10-point kick to the head.
Ouch. And
I had already hit it with like a single laser, and I was like, the Jade Phoenix's cockpit, whole head is gone.
Fantastic.
And he was like, I'm not even going to worry about the Hero Falcon at that point.
That sounds like a exciting end, brutal game.
It was brutal. I mean, it's definitely weird when you've got like super low skills versus like, oh, you're one difference. It's like, no, I'm 2 difference for multiple mechs. Like, I have pulse laser AC-20s compared to your actual lasers. I will say the tactics you use when you are that low skill are a little different. Like, you can run, you can jump, like, but man, you are really tempted to stand still just to get like stupidly low to hit numbers.
Yeah, but I mean, with that, you also don't want to stand still because then you're just going to soak damage. I mean, and you because you took all of those points in those limited units, you don't have the bodies to soak that kind of damage. So
movement speed is your armor. You can't rely on your armor for armor with a mech like that.
No, and I mean, my guys did go down. Like, anytime he hit me, it was just like, ooh, we're not coming back from that one. And it's like I have to hit him like 2 or 3 times to get my money's worth, and he just has to hit me once or twice.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having like big sluggers like that, especially against medium or lighter mechs, because a PPC or Gauss rifle, anything that does fat damage like that is just so satisfying when you take off an entire torso in one hit.
Yeah. That was my first game. That was great. My second games, I played a historical Twilight of the Clans game. So me and a couple of buddies were decided like we wanted to do more of the historical stuff because there's like how many years of Battletech scenarios that have been out? Like 30, 40, something like that. So it's like some of this printed materials has to be fun. So I looked through, I was like, let's do Twilight of the Clans. It's really just a whole bunch of like duels. It's, the Great Refusal. You've got Victor Steiner Davian fighting Link and Hosis, like 2 versus 2. Like, yeah, one person can do that, 2 people can do it, or 4 people. Like it's that level of fun. So we did that with all of the old school early 2000s rules, like level 2 honor rules were in place. It was really fun. So we did the first 3 rounds, which are first you got Victor Steiner Davian and Danny Centrella versus Linkenosis in his 2/2 elementals and a Masakari C. And I'm like, man, these are some low skill pilots. Like Victor is a 2/4.
Wow.
Yeah. And Linkenosis also 2. The Masakari C, roughly the same. I'm like, okay, so these are meant to be played on a single map sheet, like a 13 or by 17.
Like real tight.
Yeah, tight. Like it's supposed to be in and out. I was like, man, we hitting everything. Like if you're missing, it's just because you're rolling like a 2, 3, or 4, not a 7-up. So first round, I played Danny, and I let Victor tango with the Masakari because we, like I said, we were playing honor rules, so couldn't really break fire too much. It recommends like, no, if you break, that's pretty much it, because the whole point is you want to beat the clans at being clans. So Victor goes down because Victor can't land a shot at 2/4 in a direwolf because the direwolf ain't that hot.
This is the one with Ultra AC5s.
We took the direwolf Prometheus, which I think has that. I think in the Twilight of the Clans he takes an A, and we were like, no, we'll take his actual one, his Prometheus. So
those things jam way more often
than
1 in 36.
But Victor goes down. He like loses a leg, gets some head hits. Danny moves in. I'm playing Danny, and I try to distract the elementals. Elementals latch on. Like when you're anti-mech 2, they like tick, man. I jumped for like 4 turns trying to shake those off. By the time I shook them off, they had ripped out 2 of my engines.
Oh my God.
Destroyed 2 of my medium pulse lasers I was in a Falconer. I was like, I couldn't another round. I would have just been destroyed like by elementals swarming me. I was like,
infantry are dangerous.
Yeah,
they really get overlooked.
Named character infantry.
I'm sure.
But thankfully, I shook them off in a place where my fallen Victor could blap Linkenosis into the next, century. So that went well. Then we played the second round, which is Kai Allard Liao and Adele Tseng versus Vlad Ward in a Mad Cat Prime and his Sakon in a Man of War. I was like, okay, what's special with this? Kai Allard Liao is a 0/0.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's only because they can't go negative.
Exactly.
I know.
I mean, given some of the things he does in the books, I guess that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah, he was the best pilot on the entire scenario. Like, there are 8 rounds. So that is 16 Intersphere and 16 Clan. He is the best one. He is a 0/0 in a Stormcrow B. His lieutenant or whatever, Adele, a pillager. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, clans would fight themselves to annihilation over like his gene seed.
So I was the Sakon in the Man of War. So I was like, okay, now Kai's a sneaky player, and he was like, you know what? they want me to go after the Mad Cat. No, I'm going to go after that Man of War. And I was like, oh, crap.
I'm in danger.
Yeah, I'm in danger. So I'm running. Stormcrow runs in. It's got like 2 woods in between me. He's like, I hit you on 5s. And I was like, what? It's like, I ran. I got 2 woods. You didn't run far enough. And that Stormcrow has an Ultra AC-20 and a bunch of medium lasers. And it's like, oh, he just got to hit me like once.
Even with that, the Ultra AC-20 still only hits its second shot on an 8. Like that's what bothers me so much about the Ultras. That
was the dumb part. I was like, why do we have the best pilot with the worst gun?
Yeah, I love gargoyles. They're great. But every time I run a gargoyle, without fail, it manages to catch a headshot and die. Every single game.
They got
I don't know why,
heads.
but my gargoyles just have magnets in the heads, I guess.
I think my gargoyle just went down by like CT or engine kill because he AC-20'd one side torso and then AC-20'd the other one. So he did it the long way, essentially. But he was rough. He was, I mean, of course, he was passing PSRs on like 1-ups. It's like, he's never going to fall. You just have to kill him. But he can run at full speed anytime he wants and still hit you. But no, that was a fun game. So yeah, Victor won the first one, which is how in lore it does. And Kai won the second one, which I think in lore he ties that one. So we're a little alt history on that one. But then we played the last one of the day, which was Hohiro Kurita and his Takasuma Niri versus Blood Spirits. And you've got another Direwolf, and you've got a Nodachi versus a 0-1 Blood Kite. Like, nothing should be 0-1.
0-1 or 1-0?
0-1. So this is old enough that all the gunnery and pilotings are flipped. So we had to like realize that real fast. We're like, oh, that doesn't make sense. So
I mean, a Nodachi, I would take that with a 1-0, no problem.
What was the Nodachi's piloting? All right, you got Hohiro is a 2-3 and a Daishi Prime, and the Nodachi is a 2-3 as well. Now, the problem is he's fighting Clan Blood Spirit and a 0-1 Blood Kite and a 1-2 Battle Cobra B.
I do love the Battle Cobra.
I like the Clan one.
Oh, yeah. Like, it was all great. The problem is, like I said, that Blood Kite walks onto the field, and it's just like, I hit you on 3s. Like, we are slow-moving targets. Blood Kite versus a Direwolf. No one's getting a TMM. The worst part was, I was a hero. I fell 3 times, folks. I fell 3 times. Like,
have you considered not running on concrete?
I wish it was concrete. We did look up the old historical maps. It does recommend, because it does give like, this fight is on this map, this fight is on this map. So we're like, okay, this is what this map looked like. Let's look through all of the new maps they've released and pick the closest one. So this one was supposed to be a valley. And so I picked, a valley from the desert map pack. But yeah, Hohiro got murdered. Yeah, he took 3 LRM-5s to the face. And just that's all.
That'll do it.
Yeah. But it was over a couple of turns, like AC-5 at jam. I was like, come on, man. Couldn't hit anything because I'm running, and the Blood Kite con just could sit still and pepper me. Like, there was nothing I could do. My Nodachi friend, though, murdered that Battle Cobra.
Poor Battle Cobra.
Poor Battle Cobra. And then tried to redeem Hohiro Kurita's honor and fighting the Blood Kite, but even, having one turn of breaking honor to get the full TSM on it still wasn't enough. Like, it was messed up, but that one went solely to the Blood Spirits, I should say.
So overall, you won with Victor and Danny,
and
then pushed, or you lost. The
one?
Flat, or?
Yeah, the one that in lore they tie. So we're currently 2-0-1 when in lore it's 2-1-0. So we're pretty close.
That's not bad.
But those are my games. I think maybe next time we might finish them out. The other ones aren't as interesting. Like, they are named characters, but they aren't like the named of named characters. I think they've got, Comstar is next with Freeworlds League, and then Capellan Confederation versus Jade Falcons, which is Martha Pride and a 2/2 Thor Prime, and then Clan Staradder, and then Clan Fire Mandrill. Like, I didn't realize it was all, I don't want to say the reject clans, but it is kind of the reject clans, folks. But yeah, those are my games. Taking up a bunch of time. Steve, what have you gotten done?
We had 2 huge events in the last couple of weeks at the local game shop. We did a Friday night grinder, which I just couldn't say no to. So we had probably 8 guys show up. We had like Kevin and Gary, Chris and his son Chris Jr., Martin showed up, and Paul was there. And Paul was kind enough to bring his grinder box. He designed a box with 4 different tiers of mechs. Each tier had 6 different mechs in it. And we kind of just, he had a little map with some 3D printed terrain. It was one of the battle mats. So it was like just big enough for like 8 people to get in close combat pretty quickly. And the bad news is I lost all of my notes with which mechs were destroyed. I mean, I have like who killed who, but not what the actual stats were looking like. Martin was a jerk, and I love Martin. He's a great guy. But he started off by hunting me down, and then I died, and I came back, and then he hunted me down again.
At least he didn't leg you and leave you in the middle of the map for 4 hours.
It's true. I didn't have a Clint, so that was good. But no, so I ended up killing, I think I got like 5 kills by the end of it, because what ended up happening is people could come in and go as they needed to. One of the highlights was the last 3 people were Kevin, Paul, and I, and they were both in Lyran mechs, and I was in a gargoyle. And I just turned around and blew Paul's Wolfhound away. And what's funny about this is I mentioned before that every time I have a gargoyle that catches head hits, I was playing a game with Kevin many moons ago. First turn, he runs his Wolfhound up and just headshots my gargoyle on turn 1. This is an Alpha Strike game. And ever since then, my gargoyle has always collected headshots, but Wolfhounds are particularly bad. So to UAC 20, oh, it's terrible. But I got my comeuppance. I turned around and UAC 20 that Wolfhound and just blew both torsos out, and it was gone. And then I ended up slugging out with Kevin's Griffin for the end there. So I ended up killing both of them, which felt pretty exciting to do. But the way you ended up with clan mechs is, like I mentioned, there were like 4 or 5 tiers. For every kill that you got, or every time you died, you got a card or a token. And then if you had 3 of those, you could cash it in and claim a clan mech, right? So because we're not giving away prize boxes, because we're just a local group having fun, we're not gonna shell out prizes for stuff like that.
Yeah, but I love that idea. Clan mech rewards. Yeah.
Sure. But no, so it's like, the number of kills you can earn a clan mech for it, which is a pretty fun way to do it at a local shop without breaking the bank. So that was a good time. Got to play some Classic, which is not my normal jam, but that was fun. And then we also did a 2-kid Alpha Strike grinder kind of battlefield type mode. You could play as Inner Sphere or Clan. You brought 250 points to the table. And we kind of flirted with the new rule set that like the new standard Alpha Strike set that they put out. So we said that you had to build either a Lance or a Star or a level 2, and any points left over you could bring whatever you wanted, right? That was a basis. You had to come with at least one formation effectively. And all the Inner Sphere guys spawned in the middle of the map. We did a 4x8 map, and the clans spawned on either end, short edge of either end. And there were 8 objectives. Every objective you held reduced your opponent's point pool by 100, and you start with 4,000, right? So every time you spawned, the PV of your mech spawning in reduced from your pool, and every objective you held reduced your opponent's pool by 100 per turn.
Yeah, like you said, a battlefield style.
Yeah. The idea is that if you
played that game.
Yeah. And what's nice about it is if people show up at the table, someone shows up late or whatever, they just drop their 250 points, you reduce your side by 240 or 250, and all of a sudden you have an extra star on your team, and you can push forward and try to, push back Comstar. What ended up happening in that game is, with the 8 objectives that were evenly distributed throughout the map, the clans held 4 and the Inner Sphere held 4 for most of the games. So it really came down to a slugfest, and we were killing more on the side of the clanners. But lo and behold, James, with his like skill 8 scout chopper, I overestimated how far it could sprint. So I moved my skill 1 rifleman 2C up off the point to try to get a better vantage point and gun down some of the Comstar that were holding one of the inner objectives. And this dumb little helicopter just zipped 45 inches across the map, landed on the objective, and I couldn't get an angle on it. My one Thor had, I think, 5 shots on 10s to do 1 point of damage to blow the VTOL out of the sky, and I just couldn't get it. I just didn't get that 110 I needed. So they ended up capping the point, and that put us 100 points behind, and we just could never catch up after that. So really fun game mode, and it's funny because I think we ended up losing. Clans lost by 98 points. So if we had managed to hold that objective, we would have won by 2 points based on kills.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
They're very close.
So what you're saying is it was your fault.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it felt so... Yes, it was my fault. I accept responsibility. And there are probably ways we could have modified the game mode, but it was really so close. It's hard to justify changing too much. So
that sounds amazing. I would love to play that.
It was a lot of fun, and we ended up running. God, I think we started at 2 and ended at like 11:30 or something. We played for 8-9 hours. It was crazy.
Nice.
And the best part is the game shop we play at has a bar. So, and there's a pizza place across the street. So we had pizza and beer, and we just played Battletech for like 8 hours. It was a great game.
That's how we did it back in the 80s when we played. Like that's what you did. You drank beer, you ate. Like it was literally called a beer and pretzels game. Mm-hmm. Because you just go to the game shop or your friend's house for the weekend to play, some of these 8 to 12 hour Battletech games.
Back when free time was a luxury.
That's right. So you're doing it right, man. You're bringing it back.
Trying to. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and we really do have a great local group, and people show up, and they want to play. So and we get to do all sorts of fun, silly stuff. So we really, we are fortunate to have the local group that we do have. So it was a good time. We also got 2 new people, because the best part about being at the game shop is you see other people playing Warhammer and like, hey, do you like giant robots? Come here. And we just gave 2 random people 2 random stars, and they had a blast. So that was great. But those are my games. Denim, anything for you, sir?
Well, okay. I played Marcus at Hangar 18 a while ago, and we all heard about how that went. I talked about it the last podcast. It was really bad. I got a chance for revengeance, though. So because with the Starly Command Lance box set came out.
Sure.
And that's got, it's got the Thunderhawk, Alexander Kerensky's Orion, Devlin Stone's Atlas II, and this special Phoenix Hawk that I've never heard of. It's the one with the ER large laser and the snub-nose PPC. I fought against him in my Grey Death Legion heavy battle lance. And that's the one with the Regent with the 3 ER PPCs with the capacitors. So they do 60 points of damage at 23 hexes. It's fantastic. The Catapult with a long range of 38 with those enhanced LRMs. One of the cool Shadowhawk variants, and a Gargoyle F. The one's got the improved heavy large laser and a bunch of ATMs on the right arm, and then a rack AC2 on the left arm.
Ooh, rack AC2.
And I know this map. We played on Grassland C or something like that. But all the Grassland maps, I know where all the cool places are, and I set my guys up perfectly. They all had high ground. They all had partial cover. I needed 5s and 6s to hits, while he needed 9s and 10s because I play the math. But this is why tournaments don't really work for Battletech, because you can do everything right. But when my dice all roll 1s and 2s and his rolls 4s, 5s, and 6s, it doesn't matter that I need 5s and 6s to hit, because I can't roll a 5.
Did your revengeance fail? Then
oh, it did.
Are you about to tell me that you lost again?
The Gargoyle F on turn 2.
It's gargoyles, man. It's gargoyles.
It took something like 30-something damage in the right torso and blew the right arm off. So all I had was a rack AC2. That's it. My untouched Regent took 10 points to the head I got a 10 for criticals and blew up the cockpit and something else. So, my two heaviest mechs were just gone, like instantly, just gone. Shadowhawk took a lot of damage, but then you've got 4 on 2 at that point. It's just, and the catapult is awesome until it runs out of ammo or you get within 10 hexes, because that's where its minimum range starts. And then, it's once they get in close, you can't do anything. I think it's got ER pulse or small pulse lasers for other weapons, inner sphere or small pulse lasers. So a range of 3. It was over before it started because I couldn't roll high. I couldn't roll high enough. I couldn't roll medium. How about that? I couldn't roll medium. I would have loved to have just rolled 7s. Couldn't do it.
See, I just imagine this with Anakin standing on Mustafar and then him saying, "You don't understand my power," and then you probably get your arms and legs cut off.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. So at the end of the day, you could do everything right in Battletech, but it still comes down to the luck of the dice rolls. So I'm not bitter.
You sound better than him.
I enjoy watching mechs blow up, even if they're mine.
Except
which is good. It's the only way to say this is the second time in a row. So I am retiring from Battletech.
Pretty sure in Clan Society, we issue you a Hunchback 2C and
I know, right?
Give you a Get Well Soon card.
Hunchback 2C with 10 rounds of ammo.
Yeah, you're not sick or anything. We just wish you would do better.
Yeah. So, looking forward to round 3.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I die a little inside each time. But yeah, that was my games.
Okay. We've got some quick upcoming events. We've got the Michigan GT in, I don't know, I'm going to go with Michigan, probably.
Located in Lansing, Michigan. Yeah, so September 20th through the 22nd, Battletech Alpha Strike and Total Warfare comes to the Michigan GT. You can join us at the Lansing Center in downtown Lansing in Michigan for 3 days of intense Battletech action. Whether you like playing Alpha Strike in the Alpha Strike Open, 350 championships, or drafted for war events or the Total Warfare Grinder, they've also got some narrative events. Don't miss out on this fall's Battletech excitement at the Michigan GT. Sign up today at michigant.com.
Sounds like fun on a bun.
It should be nice. I know the guys put it on. They do a good job with it. Unfortunately, I'm not able to make it this year. But if you're interested and you're in the area, check it out.
We also have all of our MRC tournaments that we talked about in our last episode. And we have our Atomic Empire Classic Battletech tournament on July 20th. Is this Saturday?
Yes.
Come on down. And for any listeners, if you or someone you love or possibly just like is running an event, you can send your events and they'll get hopefully a shout out by sending it to the Mechbay podcast at gmail.com. Speaking of, we have a little fan mail that was sent to the Mechbay podcast at gmail.com. Sam Burling writes, before I go off on yelling at the clouds rant about how I hate you, I just want to say thanks. Continue to enjoy the podcast. Steve is an excellent addition, and I appreciate the high-quality product you put out there. A very special thanks for providing the announcements on the upcoming MRC events. It was because of you posting about the first MRC Megamech tournament 2 years back that led me to joining the MRC in the first place. Also, I really appreciate that you added in the novels read section, since I asked you to do that. But that is also why I must now berate you. First, I had just started the Jardine trilogy when you brought it up, and I was mowing the grass when you started talking and too lazy to pause the podcast, so I did not get the admittedly small spoiler you provide. So next time, please send me a personal note letting me know which books will be discussed to such an extent as to include spoilers. Thank you in advance. Sorry, Sam.
I could say right now in advance, we will be discussing all the books. So just go ahead and read them this weekend and you'll be good.
I would like to note that Sam took important time away from his spreadsheets to write us this email. We have to appreciate that for what it is.
Yeah. Sam also included a list for us to review, but I'm not reviewing it. Not right now. Not yet. Eventually. Not never.
Just not now.
I'm putting it in my pocket and be like, I'm gonna review this at a later date. All right. And that takes us through our coolant flush of hobby news, hobby progress, games played, upcoming events, and fan mail. We do have one special note. myself and Steve were on the Coolant Pod Battletech podcast talking about the Motor City Mayhem Alpha Strike event. So if you want to listen to more of us talking about that, you can search the Coolant Pod. And Denim, you were recently on the Bungletech podcast talking about martial arts in Battletech.
That I was.
So if you
not battle mechs doing martial arts, which I originally had thought, but just martial arts in Battletech in general. It still is fun.
So if you want to listen to more of us on other podcasts, there's where to find us. All right, instead of a break, let's just get rolling right into What the Faction, 3152, Ilclan, Too Long, Don't Read, Electric Boogaloo. Because now, with Mercenaries Kickstarter coming to the majority of us this month, I thought it'd be a good moment to catch up on what the surviving factions are up to. So first up, let's go down the lore hole and see what we've got.
We should preface this with, if you haven't read all the books, there might be spoilers coming up, so pause the tape and go read all the books. Otherwise, you might send us angry letters like Sam.
And unfortunately, to preface it even further, I have not finished all of the books. Some of them I have started, so I'm not worried about spoilers myself. However, I might miss a few details because it might be in the next chapter. Who knows?
I promise nothing. All right, so we're going to start with the Old Bloods. These are factions that were around last time that we had a What the Faction. And I figured we would just kind of work our way down the who's the biggest part of the plot right now. So, of course, we have to start with everyone's favorite, Clan Wolf, or as they're known in 3152, the Wolf Empire. Dun, dun, dun.
Or just Ilclan.
Yeah, the Ilclan, Alaric's gang of plot armor, like whatever you want to call them, like Third Star League. They got 1,000 names. They're just Clan Wolf, different location. They moved, new mailing address. So essentially, they conquered Terra. Spoiler alert, everyone's known that and complained about it for the last 2 years.
Now, Steve, I don't know if you know this, but like the new box sets, like the 40th anniversary ones with the new cover art and everything, they do come with Ilclan insert packets. So they have all the regular mechs in there with Ilclan technology, and they have information about, here's the information leading from 3025 to 3151. And the entire Dark Age is summarized as various conflicts over the next century. That was the Dark Age.
Good Cliff Notes version right there. Bad stuff happens. Moving on.
There were battles with tech.
That's a real shame, though, because in the Dark Age, the Jade Falcons get a lot of cool toys. They get a lot of cool toys. But
some factions got a little bit more Dark Age love than the others, and some of them probably should not have gotten love at all.
The books aren't going anywhere. There's just a lot of information, and they edited it down to 2 words, mostly harmless.
But yeah, so that's who the Wolf Empire / Ilclan is. They are the Ilclan. But who are they fighting? Like, what is their motivation going into Ilclan? Well, right now they're essentially done fighting the Falcons. They're playing defense against the Lyrans, who are angry for, living in their apartment, essentially. They're angry against the Capellans from the other side because, well, the Capellans are there as well. Some Draconis Combine. Essentially, when you're in the middle of the map, everyone hates you for some reason. Don't know why. It's just the curse of Terra. And of course,
I think some people hated Clan Wolf before then too, Josh.
Oh, totally. But why? Oh, it's like you conquered Terra. You've made an enemy for life.
They only have one name. They're not Jade Falcons or Smoke Jaguars or
Ghost Bears,
Coral Lemming. They're just wolves.
Red Wolf Empire. I know. Can we go with Steel Wolves? Steel Wolf Empire?
I thought we were talking about the.
We're trying not to. We're trying not to. I did have who is Alaric, though? Like, who is leading the Wolf Empire?
Just this guy,
Just this guy. Yeah, he's the Iron Womb love child of, wait for it, Katrina Steiner and Vlad Ward and a little bit of Victor Steiner Davian thrown in.
Just a little bit.
Because let's get real, Hans Davian really won.
I was making a short joke because Victor's tiny.
Oh yeah, forgot about his size. So what are we on Clan Wolf? I want to do like a hot or not. Like, are we excited about them? Where are they in our hearts going into Ilclan?
I'm totally fine with them being there because you know they're not going to be there forever, and it's going to be fun watching them fall.
No, I'm a little biased. I had horse in that race, and we didn't pull it off. But no, I mean, I don't know. I in short, not hot. Okay. Have you seen
neutral.
The picture of Alric?
I'm neutral. Yeah, like I've never been a Clan Wolf or Wolf Empire fan, so it's like what happens there isn't important to me. Like it's always what's happening elsewhere that's fun. Being on Terra is kind of boring.
I think there's a lot they can do with it, for sure. Because that's it. Is it whoever is on Terra is going to get a lot of attention, and their plot armor got them there. I don't think it's going to keep them there forever. So it's going to be interesting to find out what happens and how.
Or it keeps them there, and they're just trapped there, just like the Republic. It's like I said, the curse of Terra. Once you're there, you can't leave.
But then there's going to be a civil war, and they're going to fight amongst themselves, and that's going to weaken them, or there's something that's going to happen.
Somehow Comstar returned.
Yeah.
So
things never return in this game.
So the other part is moving into the Mercenaries Kickstarter and getting new plastic. Is the Wolf Empire something that people could start with, like the new box sets and everything? Steve's kind of like, I have no idea. I just hear boxes and stuff throwing around in the house behind me.
No, my wife dropped something upstairs. No, could people get started here? Yeah, I'm sure they could. I don't know what specific new Ilclan toys Clan Wolf has being on Terra. I mean, I know they get tripods because they took over for the Republic. So if you want to start running Ares Super Heavies with Clan Wolf, you can. But yeah, I mean, they still have a lot of the stuff they had before then. So yeah you could absolutely run them.
The big thing is they are the third Star League. So as we get Star League packs, they will be the main plastic for that.
Yeah, but I think they also have other stuff included that's not normally in the
totally
Wolf, because as other people join them, they start to get access to their toys too. So
I want Wolf branded everything.
Is there anything worth noting for Clan Wolf?
It'll be interesting to see what happens when they fall. I mean, they will eventually have to give up Terra. How long CGL lets them keep it is a question, and who's going to unthrone them is another big one of discussion. I've seen people say the Cappies are going to do it. I've seen people say that, it's going to be from within. I would love to see Alric, undone by his own hubris. That would be nice. But
I think we're like an era and a half away. I think we're like 10 years from seeing what happens with that. But that's just me.
10 years in universe or 10 years in real life?
Real life. I think we're stuck with Wolf Empire for a while. I think everyone's a little too like, all right, he got there. Now let's get rid of him. And I'm like,
yeah.
I mean, stranger things have happened.
That's true. I just don't think it's going to happen. All right. That's Clan Wolf. What do we know? Who do they know? Let's move on to Jade Falcons. Oh, man.
Do they still exist?
You mean the most humble, most honorable, and ruggedly handsome Jade Falcons? Jade Falcons?
All 6 of them, yes.
Yeah. So that's an interesting group of guys now. So we lost on Terra. Oops. What ended up happening is Melvina Hazen's Mongol Doctrine Horde effectively broke on the plot armor of Alric, and they shattered into 3 major factions at this point. The remnants of the attacking force on Terra turned into the Black Watch, or a defensive faction, effectively led by Khan Stephanie Chistu. She's hanging out there now, but because of the wall and the lack of communication that's kind of bouncing around, most of the other Falcons that were left behind on Sudeten and in the occupation zone didn't know what happened to them. So they elected a new Khan for the Clan Jade Falcon non-Black Watch, right? So you've got the Black Watch on Terra. Now you've got the Clan Jade Falcons in the occupation zone that are led by none other than G. Chistu. G at the time was the only blood-named Falcon left behind. So he's now Khan, and he's kind of in a tough spot. He's fighting everybody. I mean, the Lyrans are taking a chunk of that. I mean, the former occupation zone is now the hinterlands, and that's on fire. To make things even worse,
we saved the city.
We saved the city. Oh, it's a mess. But no, you can read Brian Young's novels without question. And start with A Question of Survival, and now the more recent Without Question, to get all of that goodness, to find out what G is doing, how he's transforming the clan, and the direction it's going. I'm thrilled with it. To make things worse for G and his surviving Falcons, the Alina Mercantile League showed up. Who are they? They're traitors to the cause and Desgra merchants that decided they're no longer going to be ruled by the warrior class. So almost all of Jade Falcon's merchants packed up their vault ships and left. So now
G... all the lambs.
Yeah, well, good. They can keep them. But no, basically so in the lore, the Jade Falcons were the second best bankers in the clans, second only to Seafox. So all of that wealth and money and resources is now gone, floating around, being effectively mercenary pirates. I mean, they're not really pirates, but in my mind, they're Desgra pirates. So the Alina Mercantile League is there, but they're technically kind of a third wing of the Jade Falcons, if you would. I mean, they're not really Jade Falcons anymore, but in my mind, they're linked because of their origin. So that's the current status of the Falcons. They're kind of broken into three with two Khans. The two Khans don't necessarily know about each other, and things don't look good. We're kind of on the ropes, but we're going to hang tough. We'll live. We'll make it.
Give me your Civil War rating for how much you expect there to be Jade Falcon Civil War, like 1 through 5.
With where things are currently, I'm going to say 2, meaning not terribly likely, and I'll explain why. With the Alina Mercantile League going off and doing their own thing, G does not have the resources to fight unnecessary battles. It will be interesting to see what happens when Stephanie Chistu's Black Watch Falcons reunite with G. Chistu's Jade Falcons, and we'll see what happens. I suspect, there's probably going to be some sort of kerfuffle, but I don't know if it's going to break down into all out civil war.
I had my hopes, but you know what? Here we are. All right, but next big player, Capellan Confederation. Now, we had to move to the Innersphere, and I'm like, wouldn't have expected the Capellans to be, taking the third big plot one, but
isn't that all they've been doing in the Dark Age is just amassing and waiting for their opportunity to strike?
It's really weird. It's like, what are the Capellans doing? Building. When everyone else, they're just the Draugr training meme. It's like when you were studying the blade, the Draugr were training.
Yeah, the whole okay, everyone, we're going to start our glorious golden age, and everyone gives up their mechs and everything. They're like, sure, we're giving them all up while they are storing them in these gigantic underground bases, just full of mechs and mechs and mechs.
Are you telling me the Capellans not only lied, but then laid in wait for their golden opportunity to seize
so
the crown
unlike
of Terra?
them,
right? Yeah, who could have seen this coming? But no, it is actually pretty exciting because for a long time the Capellans have been kind of the underdog, the smallest Innersphere faction, the least cooperative, and now they're really in I would argue they're probably the strongest position of all the Innersphere houses right now.
They got such cool mechs too.
Yeah, they got some really neat ones out there. But no, so it's interesting to see what's going to happen with these guys. There are a lot of theories that Dao Shen is going to give the throne to Denai either through, patricide or other underhanded means, and then Denai will go forward to take Terra.
Exactly.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Who would know? Like, who would guess that the Capellan Confederation would be the ones to take Terra from the wolves? Like nobody would expect that.
All I'm going to say is Dao Shen doesn't have new fancy art, but Denai does.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm like, wait a second. Why does one of these have colored new art? Yeah, I feel like that's like the closest spoiler alert. It's like I feel like Denai is going to be the new main character somehow, however it happens. I don't know.
Well, she was a main character in Blood Will Tell, which is a fun little novel. So I think we're going to see a lot more of her.
Yeah, it's going to be cool.
So I'd say, at least from the rec guides, the Capellans are definitely then, like, if you wanted to do an Inner Sphere faction, like they're hot right now. Like they got a whole lot of new tech from the rec guides, and they definitely have their own box set coming, like hopefully soon.
They have that Shadowhawk, the 8L, the one that jumps 7. It's a 5.87. VSPs. It's really cool.
It hurts my brain. Like 5.87. What? No. Yeah. So we're going to leave the Capellan Confederation, go to Federated Suns, because, they've had a rough time. They've had a real rough time. They've dealt with being a country without a capital for like, I don't know, like 20 years or something. New Avalon by Christmas. But yeah, mainly the Fed Sons have, I want to say like they've been allied with the Republic. Like they had some close ties to the Republic.
I like to think that they had an alliance with the Republic. They like to tell themselves that to comfort themselves at night. But, like there's a lot of one-sidedness on that.
Yeah, I mean, did they get into like full-blown civil war? Did they just like...
They already had their civil war.
Yeah. We can't have a second federated civil war. But yeah, I mean, what is it? You've got Julian Davian, who he had like his whole Jason and the Argonauts trip across space, like in the Dark Age. Like first he's in the Lyrans, and he's slowly making his way back through the Republic, and then through the Merrick, and then through Capellans. And like he's been fighting, trading, or plotting with everyone to get back to the Federated Sons.
He got crippled at some point, didn't he?
What?
I haven't read a lot of his stories. Didn't he get like his leg blown off or something? Or am I making that up?
Probably making that. I don't know.
I feel like I read that, but I thought it was the other person. I thought it was Eric.
I don't remember.
All I know about Davian right now is that they took one of the most interesting, not villains, but totally villain in there. And a lot of this information is in novels and everything. But this one character, I'm not going to spoil it. They kill him off in like a hidden paragraph in a source book. They're just like, oh, by the way, this guy was on this in this mech and in this battle, and he died. And then you just never hear from him again.
Sounds about right.
It was very underwhelming, and I thought they could have done a much better job. He should have had a much bigger effect on the whole everything that happened in the Ilclan era.
Yeah.
So what are they up to now? Well, like I said, they took back their capital, and I want to say they're just kind of like licking their wounds and like building back up. Like they're not in a offensive posture. They're just kind of like they're dealing with whoever would fight them.
I think that makes sense. I mean, they've been in the forefront of so many novels, and they've been portrayed as the good guys, right? In quotation marks, there are no good guys in Battletech, but they've been front and center in the limelight for so long, plot wise, that I think now it's time for other folks to step forward and get a little bit of that love.
Kind of like Wolf.
One day, Denim.
Yeah, I think now would be an okay time to start Fed Sons because they're just there, but they're next to the action. Like they probably have an interesting last 10, 20 years where, if you want to fight Republic, you want to fight Capellans, you want to fight Draconis Combine, you can. Like it's all there. But they're probably...
Well, speaking of their capital, what happened to their capital? I'll tell you what happened to their capital.
So let's go to the next faction. Denim, what's the Draconis Combine been going on about?
Exactly. So Draconis Combine is what happened to Davian's capital because, screw them. Hey, there's a civil war. Did you know that?
It's always a civil war.
Yeah, for those of you who have been reading along with all the books a long time ago, there was a whole thing about Theodore Carida having an illegitimate child that popped out in one of the books. It was a secret. And one of the offspring of that illegitimate line was Yori Kurita. She was put into power by Matsuhari Tornaga. And of course, it plunged the Draconis Combine into civil war. But she won. And with that, it was an upsurgence of loyalty and warrior culture. And I would say the military of might of Draconis Combine is stronger now than it ever has been before. I mean, they went all the way and took New Avalon. But unfortunately, when you're the big dog and you've got all the guns and you've got all the strength, you also have all the borders. And now they're fighting on what, 5-6 fronts? I don't know. It's a lot. They're fighting on all the fronts.
I have 4 main ones, and it's like, ooh, yeah, everyone else, more everyone.
Draconis Combine is a good faction to start with if you just want to fight everybody. If you don't care who you fight, just as long as you get to fight. There's a lot of things going on militarily all throughout the Draconis Combine, and there's a lot of things that can happen. Bad things are going to happen. Bad things are coming, but that makes for interesting times. So it's going to be a fun faction.
You were going to say something, Steve?
Oh, we were talking about the fronts. I was going to see who was where. I mean, obviously you've got the Rosshog Dominion on one side. You got the Davians to the south.
You've got the Republic of the Sphere. You've got
Ravens to the east.
Yeah, those are the 4. You had the Bears. I just missed the Ravens. Bears, Republic, Davians, Ravens.
I forgot about the Ravens.
Everyone
I forgot they existed.
They were a big part of the Dark Age stories with the whole Federated Sons. It was part of that various conflicts over the next century that it was just kind of swept under the rug.
Talking about conflicts that got swept under the rug, Ghost Bears / Free Rosselhog Republic / Ghost Bear Dominion.
Didn't they go back home? Like, I hadn't heard from them in a while.
So they kind of all made happy Innersphere Clan hybrid society work, and we didn't hear much about them for a long time. And then we had the Ilclan.
You never hear about the successes.
Well, no, of course not. That's not interesting. But no, you had Alric who said, "Hey, I'm now the Ilclan. The Ilclan. I'm building an Ilclan.
Ilclan?
Like eel?
Clan eel?
Yes. Aquatic electrical.
Where is that clan? I need more aquatic clans. Clan eel.
I mean, that
says the Diamond Shark player.
Sea Fox, Diamond Shark. Anyway, no. So basically, where we are right now, Alric said, "Hey, join or die," and they're kind of like, "Well, we're not a clan society anymore. We have to vote," and they voted. Well, they took all their.
I'm sure that went over really well with Alric.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is yes, the Rosshog Dominion did vote to join the Third Star League, but it was like a 49-51 split. And Alric said, "That's not good enough. Go back and vote again to tell me how much you love me." And this, of course, set off a civil war because the people that, wanted a lot of the old hardline clanners said, "Look, we're joining the Eel Clan. That's what we're doing." And they said, the new guys are like, "Look, we're a Republic or a Dominion or whatever we are now, and we have to take the civilians' votes into consideration." So, of course, this pissed off all the true clanners, quote unquote, true clanners, and they started killing each other. And now they've kind of descended into chaos. So God knows what's happening inside their walls.
Right now, they've gone with the joiners, and now they're like, let's declare war against the common enemy. Oh, let's do Draconis Combine.
Yep.
So I think...
Fight me.
Yeah, it's like everyone's going to be picking on Draconis Combine for the next era because they're there.
That's what happens when you're the best. Everyone wants a piece of you.
So are people lining up to be Ghost Bear players right now? I don't think so. I think they were. I think they were like early clan invasion.
I think the Civil War decision irked a lot of fans.
It's not as much that. I think it's just like, what have they been doing lately? And it's kind of like just existing. And it's like, okay, now they're fighting after fighting themselves, and they're just fighting Draconis Combine. It's like, okay, you can say you're fighting, but until we're fighting, it's, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they decide to go west, I guess, into the hinterlands a little more, trying to take more of the Falcon territory or butting up against the Alina Mercantile League or whoever else is over there doing stuff with the Lyrans, but I haven't heard of anything in the lore.
Well, new books are being written every day, so we're going to find out.
In the hinterlands, we've got the Hell's Horses. Welcome to the Innersphere, horses. How's the weather down there? I mean, Steve, I know you probably know the most of this, but really, it's a weird... The horses were really just following the Falcons, but the Falcons were really just following the horses.
I mean, yeah, so the Falcons took their Mongol doctrine, some say perverted it, some say perfected it, and were running around, running amok. So now the Hell's Horses are pretty teed off at the Falcons. So I know what they're doing a lot of is they're taking a lot of old Falcon territories currently, but they're also kind of attacking everybody, right? I mean, they're going after the Commonwealth and the, Republic kind of bits and pieces that are hanging out. And as far as I'm aware, they're kind of just roaming around, taking a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I think they were upset they couldn't take Terra, and they were just like, fine, we'll take everyone else.
They weren't cool enough to get invited.
Yeah. So they're kind of a weird... They of course, almost had a civil war themselves. And I'm like, what is it with all these factions having civil wars in like the last 5 years?
Civil wars are so trendy right now.
So hot right now. Yeah, I don't know. I think the Hell's Horses will probably see a little bit more fleshing out as they get. Like, they've kind of been riding second to the Jade Falcons, which has been a problem lore-wise. So
it's nice to see them come into their own for a bit.
Yeah.
But now we got all these cool vehicles coming out for the Mercenaries box set.
Yeah.
Those horses use vehicles.
Don't they use the quad ones that transform?
I was gonna say the transformable ones.
No, we don't use those.
Super excited.
Yeah, so they're kind of a lukewarm for me. I don't know. I'm waiting.
I've been tempted to paint some just because I've enjoyed using vehicles, so it's an excuse to put more tanks on the field, but yeah, maybe one day.
All right, last for the major powers, we've got what's left of the Lyran Commonwealth.
Well, speaking of who decided that civil wars were like the in thing this season.
Wait, did they have a civil war too?
No, they had 4.
Another one. Yeah, what's it? Bad time, wrong place, worst time.
Yeah, because they got microstates and none of them like each other.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the playground for the plot progressing, which is the wolves, the falcons, and the horses, like, heck, you've got Alaric declaring himself Archon for a bit just to be like, hey, my mom was an Archon, which means I get to be Archon too. My mom says it's my turn for the Lyran Commonwealth.
It just goes to the whole like the Davians win. You know this, right? Because it doesn't matter who wins. They all have Davian blood in them.
Yeah. I mean,
all
like
of them.
Every
single one
Hans
of them.
won Battletech. That's how you do.
Exactly. Hans won Battletech. He was a horny old man. And there are so many offspring that like it's in the Capella Confederation, the Draconis Combine, Clan Wolf, both the Fed Sons and Steiner, like Davian blood's everywhere.
But that's Davian. What about Steiner blood though?
No, that's only in some of them. The Davian blood's in all of them.
But yeah, so you've got Trillian Steiner taking the reins after Melissa Steiner dies. Apparently some Jade Falcon attacks Tharkad stuff. Plot happens there. I'm looking at Steve, right?
Look, I'm not an encyclopedia. I don't know all of it. It's a failing on my part.
The Lyran Commonwealth is so confusing. It's just like I don't have time to parse it all is the problem.
The problem is the Lyran Commonwealth where all the action is happening, but it doesn't always involve the Lyran Commonwealth. So it's like, were they involved? Yes. As the third party in their own birthday.
Because they had like a 3-way civil war for 60 years, and then Clan Wolf came by on their way to Terra and just plowed right there. Like they didn't care.
Yeah.
They didn't care. And that caused opportunities for what Skyfox? Who knows? Like that.
Well, what didn't the Lyrans also prop up? I don't. We may be going too far back, but I thought that their money was, or their currency was basically worthless now, and they had a whole bunch of economic problems.
Wait, Clan Wolf went through Free Worlds League, right? Not
both.
Not. They kind of went through both.
They kind of went through both.
Okay.
Denon's shooting from the hip on this one.
Yeah, no, I was reading my Free World League notes for some of those.
Yeah.
Yep.
I will say probably the big thing in the Lyran Commonwealth right now is you've got the Kellhounds. They're back and they're setting up base. So they're there to stabilize the region a little bit. The other thing is, like, I want to say there is bits and pieces, breadcrumbs of maybe the Lyran Commonwealth balkanizing just completely and breaking back into, like, Lyran Commonwealth is like 3 factions glued together, and now that glue might unravel and you might get like the Isle of Skye and the other ones. Like
the other ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Kellhounds are going to be a main faction, I believe.
Yeah.
They're just bringing back all the old units, right? We got Grey Death is back, and now Kellhounds are back, and
Crescent Hawk's got to come back.
No, it doesn't. It's a video game. It's not real.
I've got a coin coming in the mercenary set that says otherwise. Hey, the Somerset Strikers, they're coming back.
No.
Got a whole box set.
No. Adam Steiner's a menace and a liar.
All right. Now, this is when I go to minor powers, and it hurts. It hurts to say that. But it kind of is. Now, Denim, why did I put Free Worlds League as minor powers?
Yeah, that's where the notes I had about the 60 years of a 3-way civil war, that was them. That's why. Because they're not a power. They're so fractured. They're like if you dropped a jigsaw puzzle and a bunch of the pieces went under the couch. Like it doesn't fit together right.
But then this surprises no one. I mean, they've always been warring. The Free Worlds League is, it's always in shambles.
But what is the Free Worlds League? That's what the problem is.
Well, conglomeration of
who is the Free Worlds League? You could point at a person and say she is the Draconis Combine. He is the Federated Sons. Well, there is no person you can point to and say that is the Free Worlds League.
Thomas Merrick.
Well, you've got the Duchy of Andurian, you've got Merrick Stewart Commonwealth, you've got the Orient Protectorate, the Regulan Fiefs. So essentially it's multiple factions in a trench coat, which is always how it was, but it's been like extra balkanized now. Because
except for the time that it was like that it was a clone put in there by Hans Davian.
He can't keep getting away with it. Yeah, it hurts. So I'm putting them in the minor powers box just because, like, they are mainly fighting themselves and then trying to make sure the Wolf Empire doesn't swallow them completely, or the Cabellans swallow them completely. So they're on the defense real hard right now. I will say they do have a cool little thing called the Clan Protectorate there, which has some really wild tech, considering that's 1 Skyfox AMAG, some Spirit Cats, the leftover Nova Cats after being kicked out by the Draconis Combine Civil War. So it's like,
get out of there.
Yeah. So you've got a bunch of like hyper militant factions that are just kind of existing there, waiting. So it could be fun. It's just not fun right now. Like they've got some good tech because you have all those, factions that took their good tech and are like, we live here now.
We have resources now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the next minor power, I'm putting Skyfox here only because they don't own any like real land. Like they are still much more of a fleet-based trading manufacturing society. Like they have.
Doesn't that mean they own everything?
I debate on that, and I'm gonna get a lot of flack from the Skyfox players.
We own space, and everything is in space.
Yeah.
Well, no, aren't they the ones running around fixing HPGs? I mean, is that really what they're focusing on?
They own
Tucker Harlesland. Where are you?
Tucker Harwell.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Lord Master, sit down.
Hey.
But yeah, they own all the HPGs in the Free Worlds League leftover area. So they're trying to repair those. Like they're doing good. But they're not really attacking anyone. Like, they are a minor attacking power. Like, for Battletech, they're kind of pulling the strings, manufacturing a lot of stuff, selling stuff.
Oh no, they sound like Comstar.
Yeah, no, it's like they're driving plot but not participating in it. They're coming out with cool tech, hammerheads, all that jazz. But like, they're not like part of the Star League attacking the Draconis Combine or anything. At least if they are, we just haven't seen it yet. So yeah, that's where they are. Any thoughts on Seafox in the Ilclan era?
Seafox hasn't changed since they changed their name.
Yeah.
So they're doing exactly what they always did.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to continue to see them as a background faction for, I mean, they're going to be involved in a lot of stories, but in kind of an incidental way, right?
Like I don't they're think going to be the new Comstar is what that's what they're gearing up for.
Yeah, I think so. Which still makes me mad that they use the Fox credit, because they had the perfect opportunity to start using the C bill.
You mean the Seafox?
The C bill.
Well, instead of the C bill, like Comstar, the SEA C Fox, right? The C bill. It's like
your alliterations don't work on the audio only format.
Hey, I got it.
See, Denim knows what's up.
I would have done C Fox instead of the C bill, but that makes less sense. So we're just going to move on to the next minor power, which is the other half of the C Fox coin, which is the Raven Alliance, with the up and comer trying to be the manufacturing powerhouse.
How's that going for them, Josh?
I mean, it's going okay. They've been hanging out with the Outward Alliance for since the Jihad, of course, and they've just now are like, hey, let's just formalize it and be the Raven Alliance. So the difference is they own like a significant part of the map, and they are attacking the Draconis Combine in the Star League, the third one, I should say. So like, they're still minor, just in the sense of like, their reach isn't big. Like, they are this one small area attacking this little bit of space. But like, there's
also that one story that has them chasing down the Black Marauder.
Yeah. But we all know that Black Marauder stories are hand-me-down stories and hearsay, and none of it's based on fact. It's all
rumors
emotional.
And ghost stories.
That's right.
Now, I will say, Raven Alliance got some real cool stuff in the rec guides. So like, they're a minor power, but with the cool toys. I don't know. It's a weird thought to struggle with.
I mean, you got to have something to balance that out with.
Yeah.
Cool toys is a good way to do it.
Like, they get the new Blood Ass that we're getting, hopefully, this month. Like that's cool. That's all of them. But
are we going to talk about what is old is now new again?
Yeah. Now, this is like super minor powers. Like, shouldn't really exist, in my opinion. Like, they should just get rolled into.
Bigger than the Jade Falcons, though.
I mean, they're back.
Is that true?
That is true. Yeah, because so what we're talking about is, of course, Smoke Jaguars. And I'm not talking about the Fidelis, because way back in the whole Dark Age stuff, Paul Moon started up the Fidelis on Wayside 5. And they fought with Devlin Stone as part of the Republic, and they got fed up with that. To make long story short, and they decided to break with the Republic and join with the Wolf Empire. And because they did that, after they all kicked the Jade Falcons' butts,
hey,
that's right. With the reestablishment of the Star League, the Fidelis were permitted to resurrect Clan Smoke Jaguar, so they are back. And they have a lot of people. They've got the Poseidon, that tripod super heavy. The Poseidon is Smoke Jaguars. They're the only ones who get it.
Yeah, so pretty much anything that the Republic got, the Smoke Jags got, because they were there when it all came crashing down.
It's all theirs. So that's exciting. Smoke Jaguar is back. Not that I ever thought they were going to go away forever, but it's nice to know for sure. It's nice to know I didn't paint all those spots on my mechs for no reason.
It would hurt, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. I feel good.
All right,
what do we think is going to be coming down the pipe for the Smoke Jags? I mean, obviously we're going to get some new stuff from them. I presume they wouldn't bring them back.
They're going to get mad at the Wolves, and that they're going to take over Terra from within, and they're going to be the new Ilclan.
Lofty goals from Denim. All right.
Only to be defeated by the Capellan Confederation. As they figure out how to get through this fortress thing.
Is the fortress still up? Is it down? Jenim hasn't read the book where they explain that, so he doesn't actually know.
Still up. I think it's still up.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it coming down.
Yeah.
We'll find out when they release their third source book for the Ilclan.
Yeah.
Have they ever released that? I don't even know anymore.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not yet.
We would have talked about it if it come out.
That's Ilclan Eyes only. That's why. It's not named like the other ones. That's why my brain doesn't know. So yeah. So we'll find out when Ilclan Eyes only, which makes sense why, if we would know what he knows or not. Anyways, I'm just going to give a quick little rest in peace to the Republic of the Sphere. Right now, you're just remnants. You are essentially a bunch of people with mechs waiting to be mercenaries.
Hey, they can join up with the Minnesota tribe. I think they were on Terra or the moon or something like that. So they're all there.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
And of course, rest in peace to Comstar. They made it to the Dark Age, and then the Republic killed them as well. So,
or did they?
We just can't have fun anymore. Am I missing out on any dead factions?
I mean,
Word of Blake is still out there.
Yeah, they're
still out there.
Stuff.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? No?
I mean,
okay.
Melvina Hazen's dead, but that's more of a ding dong, the witch is dead, more than a rest in peace. But
Not
spoilers. It's not really a spoiler.
All right. So just real quick, who's going to be like, we've already touched on what factions we think are going to be like the new big up and coming ones. So
yeah, I think Capella Confederation is going to take on Wolf on Terra, and then I think that eventually Smoke Jaguars will take out the Capella Confederation to retake Terra themselves. That's my opinion.
I think the Falcons are coming back in a good way. We're getting rebuilt. Will we take Terra? Maybe not now, but soon.
They're going to take the moon.
I mean, it's fine. It's close enough. It's the closest we're ever going to get anyway.
I mean, they got all those new lunar maps that they came out with. So
that's true.
Yeah,
I am waiting for them to give the Black Watch Jade Falcons tripods, because they did fight on Terra, and they fought the Republic with the Wolves. Why we don't get access to tripods seems unfair to me. If
tripod lambs.
And on that note, I'd say that wraps up why we aren't a lore podcast. But of course, I'd like to thank our patrons and of course Fortress Miniatures and Games for supporting the show, because the best way to tide us over until we get our Kickstarters is to buy more models anyways. You can catch us next time where we give our post-classic 7000 BV tournament recap.